A word for our listeners. Masks of Nyarlathotep is set in the 1920s. We will be using terms and sayings from those times, including some that could be considered offensive. It is not our intention to offend. We merely wish to offer as accurate a view of the time period as possible. Welcome to the Nerds Domain presents Masks of Nyarlathotep. Join us each week as our investigators follow a path of clues and attempt to save the world from an ancient evil. Starring John Quiett, Jestin Kimmet, Shirley Niedzwiecki, George Chimples, Jason Hall, and Scott Troiano, with Matt Quiett running the table as keeper. Eldritch evils and crazed cultists await you just beyond this music.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm here with Shirley.
Hello.
Jason.
Hello.
George.
Hi.
Scott.
Hello.
Johnny.
Hi.
Justin.
Howdy.
And I'm Matt. Hi. So you're on a boat. It is. Can anyone tell me the nautical miles between Southampton and the port of Alexandria?
34.
I was going with 6 too. Boom.
Thanks, Shirley, for cheating. It's 3,470 nautical miles.
Exactly?
70.
That's
Six.
fishy.
No, 70.
76.
Which it's going to take you. It's going to take you about 2 weeks to get there on boat. So you have 2 weeks. If you have been injured for each of those weeks, I want you to roll a D3 and heal up anything. So 2D3, a D3, Jesse, not a D4. There you go. I love how McCrea over here, who is not stupid and doesn't piss people off and get shot with laser beams or fight werewolves, doesn't roll anything.
Ooh, I'm almost back to
How many D3s are we supposed to roll?
Dose.
2?
doses.
Yes.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I only had
I'm
1
gonna
point of
assume-
damage,
Yeah.
so...
Doses.
That we all like went back to
Can I-
town.
can I heal
Hold
up
on,
extra?
hold on. What?
Like
Jason?
all the stuff we ordered from the silversmith and all that we picked all that crap up.
Yeah.
After the fact.
Yeah, no, because I was just like,
Yeah, no.
all of us were like, yeah, give me a knife, bullets.
No, that's fine.
We left.
You guys were gone for at least a couple of days, so that shouldn't have been a big deal.
We
Scott, you
will-
were saying about healing up?
Since I only had 1 point of damage, can I roll both my dice and heal extra?
No.
Just checking.
Do you think this game's going to help you?
There we go.
So, anything you guys are doing during those 2 weeks? This would be the time to read any books you might want to read.
No.
I love how the first time we get on the boat, everybody's like, books, let's read books, that sounds awesome. And now no one wants to touch a book. Except Jason, who's probably read them all.
Well, yeah, but no, I'm waiting to like wake up tied to my bed and everybody be like, "Get the books!"
Well, no, there isn't an issue about the books. We were talking about making those community property. And
Yeah.
no, you guys did.
Yeah.
No one said a
we
word to
haven't
me.
even talked about that yet. Okay.
Oh, yeah, we need
So-
to have the give us all the books conversation.
That is the next step in this. So,
Because they are in my room in a locked chest that you think you have the key to, but
Right.
don't.
Right.
is there anything anyone is doing on the boat specifically?
I am staying in my room alone for 90% of it, only coming out to grab food and then going back into my room.
Okay.
That's not suspicious.
I will ask you what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, what's Botticello up to?
I mean, at one point when you come out for food, Weld will come up to you and say, I've noticed you've been keeping to yourself. Is everything all right, Mr. Botticello?
There's a lot of things I need to think about. I just need time.
I understand. But would you like to talk about any of it? Perhaps over some tea or some of your Italian grappa?
I do feel like some words need to be said, but I need to talk to Professor Wentworth. And I plan on talking to him at a later date.
Of course.
But thank you for the offer.
All right.
And I'm going to find Professor Wentworth.
Real quick, and you
Go
don't
ahead.
seem, without a psychology roll, you don't seem like, you seem
I'm not
depressed and
trying
maybe
to hide
affected,
anything.
but you're not like
Yeah.
squirrely or doing creepy and
Exactly.
crazy
No.
stuff.
As a matter of fact, I am walking around without the stick.
Interesting.
I'm going to spend my time trying to figure out how I can make more of the circlets. So I know what it is. I know what it does. I just need to find a way to replicate it. Like, that's all I'm doing the entire time.
Okay. A couple of things. You are on a boat called the Snohomish. It is a U.S. merchant ship.
Sorry, what?
The Snohomish.
Snohomish?
Snohomish.
Weird.
Snohomish is, I believe, a city. Maybe. Anyway, you can spend your time doing other stuff to raise skills by a little bit. So we did that last time. I would be happy to let you do that again. If there's a skill you think you want to raise, I'm happy to try and do that. Jason, let me think about that for a minute and get back to you on what I would like you to do to make that attempt.
Basically, I'm just trying to research protected magic and figure out the mechanics of it. Basically, is the goal.
Anybody doing anything else? Anybody got anything they want to do?
At some point, I am going to go to Professor Wentworth's about mid-travel.
It's just a merchant ship.
Yes, it's just a merchant ship.
So no shooting.
You could probably do some skeet shooting if you really wanted to. Yeah.
Let's do that.
Okay.
That's what we did last time.
It's going to raise your shotgun. Are you okay with that? That's the skill it's going to raise. Okay, so roll a d4 and subtract 1. And you can do that once for each week. So there's 2. Do you want to do it both weeks? It's a d4 minus 1. Oh. Do you want to do it both weeks?
Yeah, because I wouldn't be doing anything else. I'm not a social creature.
So 4.
McCrea gets invited to all the parties. What are you talking
about? Anything anybody else is doing?
I would like to work on my locksmithing abilities.
How would you do that?
I am going to take the key, put it in my pocket. I will lock my door outside, and I'm going to try to break in my own door.
All week?
Why is
this is going to become very odd eventually.
It'll be late at night.
Sooner rather than later.
Oh, so instead of doing it blatantly the daytime, you're going to wait until the dark to fiddle around with the lock. Oh,
but it's my door. If anybody says anything, it's my own room.
Don't worry, everyone else on the ship. I am clearly insane.
I would like to thank you in advance for taking the pressure off of me.
Would playing poker every night with the crew be a proper application of the psychology skill?
Yeah. I could get behind that.
Reading people.
Yeah.
Understanding their motives.
So it'd be a d4 minus 1 both times. So, Jesse,
can I join him for the game?
I don't see why not.
In the evenings?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, when you raise your psychology, Wilkerson's clearly lost.
Yeah, I could have told you that.
That Twitch he's got? Yeah.
Have you guys haven't played poker together before, have you?
Okay. We played on the last boat. Did you not join?
Oh, yeah, I did. Once or twice, yeah.
Has your play style changed?
Yes.
Are you much more dangerous and loose?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm much more dangerous and loose.
So
you
do notice that his playstyle has changed quite a bit. It seems to suit him, though. He wins as much as he loses, at least.
Okay. But it's more reckless than before.
Yeah. Jesse, if you attempt to do this, there could be bad repercussions. Are you prepared for that?
Just say yes and do it.
For the greater glory of God.
You know you're going to do it anyhow.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I
go ahead?
Offer an alternative of how you can do this?
No.
That wouldn't require you to break into your own room?
No, because you're not there.
I'm not.
Would persuade be part of that poker night as well?
I'm going to give you one or the other. Either you're spending the time to really, really read people, or you're going to spend the time trying to bluff people.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm reading people.
Okay.
Because my bluff is high enough.
Okay. Mr. Weld, will you be doing anything?
Who speaks Arabic?
I do.
Both of you?
Do you really? The gunslinger?
Oh, yeah, she picked that up on the boat last time.
Yeah, so I picked up a little bit.
I actually think I can give you lessons or something.
Yeah, since you're I'll ask the professor to continue tutoring me in Arabic since we're heading to the Middle East and Africa. That'll be important.
Okay.
So, are you willing to teach us?
For now. No, yeah.
And I assume there'd also be crew members that...
I don't want to have to be, shoehorned into the mandatory translator role, so by all means.
So go ahead, both of you roll intelligence times 5. I'm trying to get under that. Or, wait.
Am I rolling this, or...?
Yeah, no, the two of them. You're fine teaching, so... You're both under. Both of you can roll a d6. Nice. So, and add that to your already existing number. So, did you want to suggest another option for Mr. Botticello to pursue lockpicking?
If I find you doing it,
Could I see if I'm going to guess what your alternative is before you say
go
it?
ahead.
Is it to try to break out of his room, not into it?
Absolutely not.
Okay. I was going to say you could lock the door from the inside and pick it from there, where he can't be seen in the hallway. But go right ahead.
When we do the Arabic classes, where are we doing them?
I would assume either in the dining room or something.
We're going to have the conversation between me and Wentworth before those classes, though.
Also about the books, possibly too. So we might want.
It'd be real easy for you to stumble on it because I'm not hanging at all at night. I'm just trying to my room.
I would make the suggestion that this is a passenger ship.
Mm-hmm. No, this is a merchant ship with passenger spots.
You could probably offer to buy some locks off of some of the crewmen if you haven't bought some already. We certainly have locks amongst ourselves. If you wanted to, you could spend the time in your room disassembling them, looking at how they work, and also trying to open and close them in the privacy of your own
You do have
quarters.
You do have a trunk.
Yeah, but why wouldn't I just use my door? It's right here.
People have been asking questions.
I paid for the room. It's my room.
If anything should go missing on this ship, which it's a ship, and things will go missing, people will probably safely assume that it's the individual who spends time practicing how to break into everyone's quarters.
I see. Yeah.
So,
All right. I'll just use my lockbox then.
Okay, so go ahead and roll a d4.
we've had
Are you doing it
party
properly?
detail.
Or would it be that
Yes.
it's
You
obvious
should
not
totally
him
come
because
by.
Minus
he's
one.
Hold on. Guys, remember to cross talk?
The D4 minus 1.
Yes, d4 minus 1 both times. 3 and 3. Hey, look at that. Okay, so you said you wanted to talk to Professor Wentworth.
He wants to talk to
At
me
midweek?
I want to talk about midweek or at least or closer to landfall.
Is anybody talking to him about the books? Because I don't have a discussion.
Nope.
Okay. Well, then I also want to speak to them.
All right,
I was
so
hopping
well,
around and top
but-
over this stuff.
That's not
so let me get out his scheduling mechanic, and you guys tell me when you're going to talk.
like as soon as we leave.
Okay, so
Yeah,
first
I'm
day.
pretty sure Wilkerson's first.
Okay,
I'd be in the ocean. That'd be second.
okay. So you go to him like boat casts off. You drop your bags. You go find him.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
When I'm going to make sure he is in his room, not out in some main area.
And are you going armed
Oh yes,
with a shotgun?
yes.
So,
Okay.
So the rest of us might have a chance to talk.
The plan is courteously when he opens the door, I will put my foot into the door so that it cannot be closed on me. Should he decide to get
Before you tell me any more of your plan, let's see how he reacts.
Right.
That way he doesn't know exactly what you're going to do before you do it.
okay.
So, Jason, I'm sorry, Professor Wentworth, yes.
No, I can do this real quick. I'm going to not assume that my character would think that he needs to worry about somebody kicking in his door and putting a shotgun in his face. So I wouldn't, answer the door with my shoulder buried against it. So you're really just going to kick the door out of my hand.
No.
That's going to be the
No,
scenario.
he's going to put his foot in the door. So it
Oh,
can't
okay. I thought
shut.
you said put your foot in the door.
Oh no.
No.
Going out with a shotgun. That'd be
Yeah, no, that's what I was
amazing.
Have you met this party? That was my immediate mental assumption.
So you hear you've just gotten to your room. Somebody else has brought your bags in there. You're kind of unpacking a little bit. You hear a knock at the
No,
door.
I just open the door. You need something, Captain?
Yes, may I speak with you, please?
Check the hallway. Sure.
You invite me in?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Well, let's not wave it.
Random hand gesture at the table, yes.
Random hand gesture. Random hand gesture. Do you invite me in? Okay. I come in. I close the door. I wanted to speak with you as soon as possible, sir.
Speak.
Much of the group has vilified you recently. There were one or two members who had, I would bandy about the term crucifixion, and we can guess who the proponent of that would be, first and foremost.
Wouldn't happen to be Botticello, would it?
Of course it would, you know as
Yeah.
well. So,
Moral lessons from the man who caves people's heads in alleyways. Yes.
I must inform you first and foremost that I came to your defense, that I suggest that you should not be mishandled inappropriately without the opportunity to rectify any mistakes you may or may not have made. I wanted to give you this information as a courtesy. The group will likely want the books for safekeeping.
And who's going to keep them?
I do not know.
Wonderful.
Oh, hold on. You do know. Are you lying to him?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
that's
psychology?
fine. No, I'm not saying you need to roll psychology. I just wanted to make sure that Scott remembered what we talked about a month ago.
Scott did not remember at all when he came up with that line, but Scott's sticking
No,
to
yeah, I
that
think
line.
McCrea said she was going to keep them.
Was it wait,
Yeah,
here's a
I-
good question. Is it McCrea and Byrne? We're both going to
we're
bet
gonna split them.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
Yes, and I remember that I was opposed to that idea just vociferously, and that's why I didn't. I was like, that's not.
So you're fine with lying about it.
I'm perfectly fine with
You can
lying.
go ahead and roll.
okay,
Did you make it?
yes. I'm not going to bring it up. Don't worry. So the group wants to take away the books from me, likely based on my use of heretofore unknown powers, I'm guessing.
Yes, there was some talk about. Now that I remember it, actually, I thought about it for a moment. I thought the idea was ludicrous that McCrea and Byrne. That was the idea that came to me as well. The look on your face suggests that you feel similar as I. I just wanted to give you
I'm
this
not happy.
information.
I'm not happy about that, but it's better than Botticello keeping them.
But I thought I owed you that much an explanation before you had either a number or a group of suitors, pitchforks and torches notwithstanding.
Well, I can't say I'm surprised. Not after Botticello trying to kill me.
Well, I don't think he tried to kill you.
He pulled his gun out and shot me.
No, he didn't. He hit you very
Oh,
squarely
sorry,
on
Yeah,
the stick.
he
I was going to pull my gun out and shoot you, but I decided not to. That's right. Yeah, he tried to club me to death.
well, he didn't use his magic stick. So I don't think
He
he
did use
intended.
Yes, he did.
I thought he pistol whipped.
No, he clubbed whack.
Oh, you hit him with the magic stick? Oh, well, and then I retract that. Well,
I was armed, by the way, but did not full one.
okay, that doesn't.
Well, if the group would like to keep the books, by all means. You're only shooting us in the foot.
Well, I'm not here to take them from you. I just wanted to let you know where I stood.
Mm.
I will apologize once again for the episode with the mask. I felt it was necessary. I'm sure what you did, you felt was necessary.
I did.
And I thank you for it.
Would you like to see what else I've been working on? Well, no, I have my research right here. I can
That's a
show
look
you.
at distrust.
Not at the moment. I mean, is it important?
For you, quite likely.
Why?
Because I've been researching ways to prevent things from reaching into your mind.
Oh, well, now I am interested. Well, then what are you working on?
I'm going to pull out my research.
Are you? So you guys are in the room with the door shut, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah.
I will pull out all the research, explain the ruins, like around the head and the band.
Does any of this look funky to me?
Define funky.
Occultish, by all means.
Beyond normal occultish?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
You're seeing you have a small amount of Cthulhu mythos, right?
Oh, yes.
You see a symbol here or there. This is clearly made with some sort of Cthulhu ish magic.
Okay, I take a chair and prop it under the
Oh, God.
prop it under the handle of the door,
Sure.
so that no one is coming in on us untoward.
Should be noted that the chairs are fine to move. Nothing else in the room is going to move. It's bolted.
Right.
So
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of that. So
Well, I'm just going to put it under there and kick it once to make sure that it's
Nice
not.
and snug.
Yeah, nice and snug. You do understand that if Mr. Botticello and potentially Mr. Byrne, and perhaps Miss McCrea and Weldy, if they were to see this and the two of us huddled conspiratorially over it, they would likely have its shield.
Ignorance is its own weapon, so.
Scott, go ahead and roll me through this if you would.
It can also get you dead. 16 over 4.
No. Sorry.
That's alright. Yay, I won't go mad!
No, actually, that wasn't going mad. That was just gaining knowledge.
No, but the idea behind the circuit basically is that it will.
Oh no, I'm sorry. No, that is 16. I thought it was 6. I was like, wait.
It will prevent the, for lack of a better term, monsters, the unspeakable horrors, essentially, from being able to reach into your mind and affect your actions. It protects you from the outward force. It seems to be an issue lately, so I thought I would work on it.
Quiet. And as we all know, and I give you a rap in the shoulder, we all prefer the speakable horrors.
Yes.
As opposed to the unspeakable ones, yes, quite.
My next project was going to be work on the Noddens, as they are referred to.
Remind me, please.
They are the counterpoint to the evil beings, it seems.
Ah, yes,
The not
mask.
necessarily benevolent, but not ill-intentioned. If that makes sense.
The information of which you gained. Wasn't that the name of the thing from the mask?
Yes, it was.
Quite. Good. Good. Glad we can see our way clear to that.
Botticello seemed to know about them too, which is I find out surprising.
Interesting. How do we make this work for each of us? Or more specifically, how do I get one for me?
That's what I'm currently working on, is producing one. I haven't actually go about the mechanics of it.
Very good.
Because while I understand the concept, I don't understand the implementation.
Excellent. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time. Again, this was preemptory. I wanted to give you the information before it became urgent.
I will open my chest. It's only like 5 books, I think.
Yeah, unless you brought anything else with you.
No, yeah. What you're referring to is 5 books. I'll just give them to you.
I don't want them personally. I think it would make a better gesture if you were to willingly give them to those who come and ask for them. Show of good faith, you know.
I suppose saving somebody's life isn't a good enough show of good faith, but very well.
For individuals like Botticello that took life so easily after we met him, perhaps it's not. I take the chair out from under the door. I need to go and pack a few things in my cabin as well.
Very well.
Good to see you, Professor.
All right. So the rest of that day goes pretty uneventful. You guys all get settled in without too much problem. You spend your day or night doing.
I'm gonna keep the books out in a stack, like
Okay.
wrapped up in cord.
Okay.
So when whoever comes by, just be like, "Here, take it, go away."
Okay. You spend your day or night doing whatever. So
provided said person isn't much.
So, McCrea, that means that you spend your time shooting skeet off the back of the ship.
Also, is Weld still injured? Are you still injured?
I wasn't injured.
No, it was.
I was.
No, you were on. So I didn't carry you out because of your injury. I carried you out because of the emotional trauma.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You're not really pointing at anybody, so they're all confused.
No,
Well, you're kind of pointing at
it's
me, but also
me,
him.
not- I said
Yeah.
Weld.
And both of them are hard to see on the microphone.
So I think, what McCrea would do with the motherly nature of getting everybody going. I would definitely check on Weld and talk, and we would all have dinner together, correct?
I don't know. It sounds like
I
at
would.
least one of them's hiding in their room.
Oh, well, except for you. Except for Botticello.
Well, no, I'd be preoccupied, quite frankly.
And Wentworth.
So no one would.
I'm coming to dinner.
I'd be at dinner.
So, Mr. Byrne, will you be as well?
Yes.
Okay. So it's just Botticello and Wentworth then.
Well, then, if we're
Of course it
talking
is.
about
No-
going
nothing
and
suspicious
seeing,
here.
whatever your name is, Wentworth, I would definitely either go with Byrne or Weld.
I would say
You don't want to be alone with me?
Well, let's have our first dinner then as we come in. And,
Okay. So hold on. George, did you decide what you were doing? You were learning.
Arabic.
But are you doing anything else?
Can I?
Yes.
I'm gonna work on my jump by performing a series of series of vigorous calisthenics across the bow of the ship at mid-morning, followed by my son's salutations.
So you're going to spend your time kind of stretching and so on and so forth.
Basically, yes.
And listening to, what's that song? Jump Around.
It would be Jump Around by House of Pain.
Who's the band?
House of Pain.
House of Pain.
House of Pain, that's right. So you're going to spend most of your day listening to House of Pain.
I actually write that song and then they steal it from me about 60 years later.
Yes, jump is fine. You can raise that by d4 minus 1. Go ahead and roll both weeks. It's fine.
So it's 2d4 minus 1?
2d4 minus 2.
1.
That was mine.
So none.
Missed.
Yeah,
A lot of wasted effort.
Sorry.
That's fine.
But you got a rap single in 80 years.
Yeah. Well,
So it's expected. It's unexpected. Most people meet for dinner. You don't have to. Not everybody meets for lunch or breakfast, but dinner is usually the ship-wide group gets together in their small dining area and eats. So that night is just the 4 of you, and it's probably going to be that way for a while, I assume. Is that right, Mr. Wentworth, Mr. Botticello?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in research and development mode, basically.
Okay. So the 4 of you sit down for the first night at dinner. They're serving some sort of fish. It's, England, and you're on a boat, so it's pretty easy to get fish.
On a boat.
Is it fish and chip style?
No, it's probably just grilled or broiled. Yeah, I mean it's not. They are not deep frying anything.
Okay, just checking.
So you're sitting down at the table for dinner. This is where you guys wanted to have the conversation.
So it appears that Professor Wentworth and Mr. Botticello are conspicuously absent.
I haven't seen them in quite a while.
Personally, I went to visit Professor Wentworth right as we came on board.
oh, concerning what?
The fact that Mr. Botticello was quite upset with him and more than willing to spearhead his crucifixion if necessary.
Crucifixion. That's perhaps a bit strong, isn't it?
Well, did he not attempt to assault him? Or succeed in assaulting him? Perhaps attempt to kill him?
You've never struck someone in anger, sir?
Oh, always, yes. Many times. But not with my magical stick that kills people.
He explained that it doesn't. It's not supposed to kill people. It's a weapon. I mean, flat out. Obviously, it's a weapon. It's kill. It has no. Its magical powers don't get it the ability to kill any more than an equally weighted club would do so. That's what he explained. That's what the enchantment he placed on several of our, or the Professor Wentworth placed on several of our implements.
Well, and I must admit to everyone at the table, and I will do so more willingly, not in front of Professor Wentworth and Mr. Botticello, some of the evening's events, specifically after the basement that evening, are a little bit foggy for me. I stayed back by the creature that we ran into, to be perfectly honest.
Myself as well. I don't believe I witnessed the assaults, just walked in during the aftermath. But Botticello was no doubt in a state of extreme emotional stress, as we all were, so.
Well, he intended to save the girl.
As most of us did, yes.
And the opportunity was taken away from him.
As it was all of us.
So I won't say his actions were justifiable, but understandable. Perhaps.
Agreed.
Well, my question is, we all agreed that we were going to get the looks from him. I want to know when we're going to do that.
How did Wentworth respond to the information that you gave him?
He seemed to be in possession of perhaps more of... how was his classroom manner when you had him as professor?
Brisk. He does, as you know, he does not suffer fools gladly.
No, he does not. He seemed to be almost in an academic mode once more. Slightly brisk, yes, but not precisely preoccupied, but very much down to the point. And, as you say, not to suffer fools. he is potentially of the understanding that at least one of the party may be acting the fool currently, and to be perfectly honest, he thinks Botticello is overreacting.
No doubt he thinks we're all overreacting.
Perhaps.
Be that as it may. I don't think our concern here is to... Chastising him wouldn't do any good, and it's really not the point. The idea, at least where I'm coming from with the concern of the books and the arcane knowledge that we've availed ourselves of, is we need to have checks and balances. We need to have a break put on it so that those of us who are inclined to research the darker matters, such as myself, Botticello, Professor, even you, Captain, should we be too eager, at least others will be aware of it. I believe that is why it must be in the hands of the two of us who've shown the least inclination in that direction.
Fair enough. I'm not particularly inclined at this point, just so that you are all aware.
No doubt. But
I'm just go ahead.
no,
You seem to have forgotten why we are taking these books from him. Has it been that long ago that we witnessed what we did? What he did? I don't understand your lackadaisical attitude toward him right now. We were at the point where we weren't even trusting him due to the fact that he slaughtered that girl.
absolutely, but what more can we do as regards to the professor? We can't expel him from our group. We need to keep a close eye on him for his sake as much as anyone else's.
But him gaining that knowledge without informing us, telling us what he was going to do, intended to do, that's the problem. Is that he killed her without, and
even after our agreements, he killed her.
With the power none of us knew he had, yes.
Exactly.
And so I feel that putting the books with you and Miss McCrea, we can still have access to them should we need it, but nothing will happen without at least the two of you knowing, and you can inform the others as you should see fit.
Do we really believe that any human should have any of those powers?
It's a moot point. The professor already has them.
There may be useful knowledge still, but
Useful knowledge that'll undo what's been done, that will undo what he knows. Because unless it's that, it's no use to have him around. They could be burned.
I don't know if I can't agree with burning them, not yet. Not until we've seen this through to the end. There's so much we do not know. What I think is that we just need to have extra layers of
Protection,
morality?
Security?
Yeah. So if I say, I want to learn more from that book, Miss McCrea, Mr. Byrne, may I read it? And I read it, and you have an eye on me and you see whether I've changed or not. Maybe I tell you what I've learned, and then we go from
maybe
there.
you don't, and we're right back in the same situation, except now two of you are like that.
But now you would know it. Now you would know if I've changed. And the difference being that if otherwise I just had the book and was reading it, you'd have no knowledge whatsoever. And if you saw that I was squirrely, perhaps you don't lend me the book. Perhaps you say, not right now.
And what?
Has Wentworth changed? I mean, aside
And
from...
what?
Well, I don't think so, but
What other clues there? What would have led us to even know that he was capable of such a thing?
I've seen Botticello perform a ritual.
Mm.
I've seen Wentworth perform the same ritual. I saw
Much cleaner, mind you.
much clearer, yes, to the same effect. I saw that man nearly kill the captain, and Wentworth killed the girl.
mm-hmm. Well, that's precisely my point. this knowledge is dangerous, but it is a dangerous tool. And so you yourself have found that blessing of weaponry to be something of value. You've had it performed on your own.
Yes.
The spell that seemingly kills with a thought is obviously dangerous. And it could be used for a useful purpose. I'm sure the professor would say that he was doing it to save, the life of one of our group. But it's also quite frightening in its reality. And so these are the kinds of things that we need to weigh, that I would prefer that you and Miss McCrea would weigh without dispensing of them entirely, but that you merely act as a brake on the knowledge that we do not learn too much, too fast, and corrupt ourselves.
And then how am I supposed to keep these secure? I remember the conversation. I remember saying that I would take charge of them, but I do not. He has them in a trunk, and is that how we're going to keep them in separate trunks that only I will have the key to and Mr. Byrne will have the key to?
As inelegant as it is, it seems to be the only solution I can think of, if you would prefer to offer anything else.
Well,
Besides destroying them, I don't think that's wise.
How do I know that he won't try to pick the lock or have somebody come get them?
Or cast his spell again.
Or cast a spell and take me out.
We've all suspected certain individuals at various times since we've all come together. I was thought a fool for dressing as I wished. Mr. Botticello has been cast as a murderer in spite of the fact that the man that he slayed had clearly just slain someone else. So, justifiable, perhaps. We now fear the professor, and while there has been a brief scuffle between him and Mr. Botticello, I feel all of us can still have some trust in each other. I don't think that any of us have been entirely corrupted, and even as some of us have taken liberties, and he looks at the captain meaningfully, we've done it from seemingly places of good. And I think that's an important thing to grasp, and an important thing to hold on to. So when we start seeing ourselves, and an important thing to understand each other's motives as well, because I think some of us have demonized certain people across the table. And I don't think that any of us have shown ourselves to really truly be worthy of that. We're generally meaning well as a group. And we just have to trust to that. I feel like, as you say, Captain, that Professor Wentworth was seemingly open to the idea of passing the books to us, yes?
I believe he would.
He would not try and break it. And if he did, we would certainly know about it. Or have a clue.
And this is supposed to
slow down
help me
things.
Trust him in some way. I think that if we're in different situations, if something like that situation comes again, he will make his own decision despite what we as a group have decided. And I believe the captain here would agree with me that if a man does not follow orders, men die.
Agreed.
And here's where you bring up an interesting point, Miss McCrea. The professor is a learned man. And as part of his learning, he has learned that he is more intelligent than anyone else. The captain is used to giving orders because he is from the nobility. I myself am a gentrified man, and I'm used to having my way. It doesn't mean it's right, but this is how these people think. Changing the way they think would be a very difficult process indeed. Understanding why they think that way might allow you to approach the situation in a more deft manner. And while I don't think the professor would necessarily ever listen to anyone orders than his own, doesn't make him a bad man, but it means that it's something that bears watching. So in the future, if we were to encounter a situation like that again, it is something we must be mindful of.
But I feel I should mention that in our mutual backstory, there is a scene where I basically told you that the military is a waste of your skills.
Oh yeah.
Miss McCrea, as I cut my fish, I
Yes,
would
Captain.
also like to give you a piece of information that will both tempt you and place you potentially at the scrutiny of those at the table. I am going to do so by first making a bit of an announcement on my own actions. I will come clean, as the Americans call it. As we crossed from America to London, the book that I had was actually bound in something other than regular leather, and I would be remiss to say so in front of Botticello or Professor Wentworth. But seeing as how they're not here, I feel much more at ease making this admission. I took whatever the skin was, and mind you, yes, I am a hunter. I have seen every skin known to this planet. It was something else. I took that skin off of the books that I had, and I rebound it in actual leather. The skin, once removed, was dropped into the water as we passed the deepest of the Atlantic. I don't think it is something that should have been in this world, and therefore I let it rest at the bottom of the ocean. You will be in possession of the books. We will be passing some very deep water, some very open space. If you fear the books that greatly and think that they will lead to Professor Wentworth's demise, or potentially Mr. Botticello's unraveling, or my undoing, or even Weld's, we will be crossing very open, very deep water. I'm not suggesting you do anything with that. Just perhaps you could tie the stories together on your own. Can you pass the vinegar?
I pass the vinegar.
Is there anybody else at this table that would like to reveal some secrets?
Well, you know,
Don't
about,
let me off.
about blessing the weapons, I can do that as well. So all of these things,
Wait, did you just
I give you a double take like what?
these things can be learned by anyone. We all know that they carry power. True.
Byrne? We're unveiling our souls here. Go ahead.
I got nothing.
Miss McCrea?
People
I
like to
have
beat
nothing
you.
to hide from you. I've been open and honest from the beginning.
Of course you have.
But
And again, just to re-verify, it was Mr. Botticello that pushed you into Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's house.
I don't trust him either.
Just checking.
Well, this is what I'm getting at. Is I know I can trust Mr. Byrne. I've known him for the longest of any of you. I trust his instincts. They're very good. He is a grounded man. Miss McCrea, I know you to be a grounded woman. Perhaps my lust for knowledge has misguided me in some way, and perhaps, as the captain says, it would be better if these books were placed on the bottom of the ocean for no human eyes to ever see again. This is why I want the books to be in under the control of you and Mr. Byrne. If you should see fit to destroy them, very well. That is the power you shall have. I think that is the instincts that you two have shown, have proven to have, that make the books the safest with the two of you. Should you see fit to still use them as resources, for people to still have access to them, very well. I'll stand by that. If you see fit to destroy them, I would not agree, but I would not stop you either. I would just merely make my case. I think that when it comes to all of us, we need to be more open with each other. We need to tell each other so that we can all check on each other. We can all manage each other and understand if any of us should be becoming corrupted or strange or influenced improperly. I think the time is to come together, not to move apart and become suspicious of each other. If we do that, we will be in a very bad place.
To support one another.
Yes. And to be understanding, and sometimes support means going along with actions we don't agree with. And that might mean understanding that Botticello knocked that man on the head, and he died. And indeed, understanding that the professor, as much as it pains me and as much as I wanted to save that girl, he did it for reasons that I don't agree with, but from his heart, they were not coming from a bad place.
Well,
and I don't like it, and it upsets me. My issue is more with the unbridled use of power. No, it's with the girl, but what's done is done, and
My problem
we have to
is,
move with it.
My problem is Wentworth was not. He said he didn't care about what he had done.
There was no remorse.
There was no remorse whatsoever in his tone and his actions after the fact. That's what makes me not trust him.
He's a pragmatic man. And if I know the professor, he does care about things. He very, very rarely says it.
Mr. Byrne, did he save your life?
I don't know. I knocked the wolf out once. I had the beast contained, and then it found some strength. As you recall, I was pushed back against the wall, but I was still in the fight, and he killed it.
By that point, I had
Killed her.
By that point, I had not all of my faculties about me. Miss McCrea, did he save your life?
No, I believe he didn't. I believe we were all in the position to be able to get away from her.
I was not.
You were on the floor.
Precisely.
You're in a separate cell.
Oh,
Mm.
I don't know.
We had to move. What had happened to refresh? Well, your memory, your mind was not present at the time. The wolf had attacked you, and you were in the fight. But as soon as she was subdued by Mr. Byrne, you collapsed into a mess, and we were attempting to move her to a fresh cell where we could restrain her again, when she began to transform, and that is when the professor chanted his spell of death, immediately killing the girl when she was half restrained.
We had momentarily lost control, but it was not.
But I will say, in the professor's defense, and again, I stress that this is not what I would have done. I don't think it was the right choice. The professor is not a man of arms. He has not been in combat like the four of us have. Fisticuffs are new to him. He's a man used to desks and libraries. In a combat situation, he will not have the same instincts that we would have. And so for something to happen that would be so immediate and so disturbing to him, his only reaction would be, as it was, overwhelming force. This is perhaps mitigating. I do believe that what he was doing was to defend us as a group, and that he, in his hierarchy of morals, felt that our lives were more important than the girls. We might disagree with that. But this does not make him a bad person, I don't think. But it does mean that we need to watch him more carefully, as we should all watch each other more carefully, but from a place of trust, not from a place of suspicion. That is what I think we need going forward. I think it's the only way that otherwise we will fracture and split apart, and then we will fail in our task, and the world will be swallowed by ineffable darkness that will drive all of us screaming mad.
Yeah.
Well, Courtney, if you ask me to do this thing, I trust you, and I will do it.
And you know that trusting me means that I trust you to watch me as well. If I am out of line, I have a thirst for knowledge, and should that become too overwhelming, tell me.
I have a 6-shooter that will do the job.
Well, don't kill me. I hope there are other solutions than that. And I laugh, like really nervously and weirdly.
And I laugh like a hunter that's taking down lions. I'm like, yes, of course you do it. Yes.
Well, this escalated quickly.
I want to point out that you just made yourself equal to me.
Yes, you did.
Your response was, "I will kill you if you step over the line." No, you said I have a 6-shooter to solve that problem. You just made yourself morally equal to me on every level.
Two friends that'll help you.
Don't
change
want
your
none
mind.
of your
Mr. Smith and
bullshit.
Mr. Risk. Is that dinner?
It's like, they have ice cream. Oh.
Yeah, I don't say much for the rest of the evening unless someone else says anything.
Killing is wrong. If you step over the line, you're getting a bullet.
And I feel much better. And I actually look like I have it more together than I have mentally in weeks. And I'm just like, this fish is delicious. I'm glad she's going to shoot him if he steps over the line.
Wilkerson, like, good with killing.
Yeah. So that kind of wraps up the conversation. You guys have a general idea of what you're going to do. The night wraps up. Mr. Byrne and Captain Wilkerson, you both end up talking the crew into a poker game, and by talking the crew into it, you mean,
Hey, can we go have poker game?
you guys want to play some poker? And yeah,
It's,
I will warn you, it's very, very low stakes because the crew isn't exactly rich, but you know, they also throw in things like chores and you know, nasty stuff no one wants to do.
Scrape the barnacles off the bottom.
Which are not.
Please tell me there's going to be a scene where Captain Wilkerson cleans the village.
But the rest of the night goes decently well. You find yourself on the second day and the third day kind of just out at sea. I'm aware. Hold on. You said middle of the week.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
I got you.
We meet like 2 days out.
Hold on. I got working there. Working.
Well, look, because we want to talk. I don't know if you know. We want to talk to the professor, specifically the professor.
I'm painting a picture, guys.
Can you paint a picture? We're talking to the professor in the room.
That's
No,
what
sorry,
I
sorry,
wanted
sorry.
for dinner. I wanted to know when you and I were going to go see.
Oh, I always said before-
grab the books.
When we go see him for Arabic lessons next.
So,
Well, that's what I was asking, like, if you were going to come to my room for them, because
Yes.
that matters.
Yes. That's,
Oh, if you come to my room for them, like, I'm obviously researching something. Like, there's runes drawn on
I would
paper.
suggest coming to your room because that's where it seems to be the appropriate place. And so, unless you should just otherwise, that's what I'm going for.
okay. So, the second day is mutually uneventful. You do go for the Arabic lesson. Do you request the books? You can do that now.
Yeah. So it'd be. I think I'd say we'd like Miss McCrea and I would like to learn some Arabic and continue our training. It should be useful. Where would you like to meet?
Wherever is fine.
Your room, perhaps?
Sure.
Dun, dun, dun.
No, there's if you don't need psychology being perfectly. Well, seems like a good place. Okay, so we show up after breakfast.
Okay.
You have your stuff hidden, or is it all out?
No, my research is obviously, like, on the table.
Okay.
Like, not hiding it whatsoever. And you will see the books, like, right inside the door, on a table, bound up, like they're ready to be transported somewhere.
Can I roll a cult for if I take a glance? Like I take a look at your research.
Yes, you can roll a cult. You also can roll Cthulhu.
No, I didn't get to roll the code. I only got
Well, that's because
that's
you didn't. He didn't at that point have all the research. He was just unpacking.
I make a cult.
He's clearly looking into something protective, but it's you're unsure what exactly. I mean, it just doesn't really connect.
Interesting. I remark upon it. Before we begin the lessons, I did want to discuss with you, as I understand, the captain has already approached you and told you that there's been a certain discussion about what happened in the Castle Plum, and
Yes, I'm an evil, debased man. I think I understand.
I don't think that if that's
I
what the
don't
captain
think
told
that-
you, it's not
oh, am I
the
okay?
proper representation of what we said.
No, I
Yes.
believe that's the
Okay.
emotional context of the discussion that was had behind my back.
Behind your back. A life was taken. People were disturbed. You might understand why that would be a problem.
I killed a monster.
You show no remorse for killing a girl.
You will note that the monster was able to speak through her before she transformed, when her dad came to the door, with the intent of killing him. So as far as I'm concerned, her mortal form was a subterfuge.
And you're 100% certain of this.
I really couldn't be.
Okay. So we agree that there's room to disagree.
Yes, there is gray area. I would note, however, that I stopped the first time around to administer first aid to her
Yes.
before we tried to move her. I didn't just walk in and shoot her in the face.
I'm not coming to attack you, to accuse you. But you understand that not everyone agrees with your actions, as
Yes,
you have not agreed with everyone's actions.
I understand for some reason I've lost the party's trust.
I think that we're all questioning each other's trust in each other right now, and I think that is a problem. I've discussed with everyone else
What did Botticello say
about what?
about this, since he tried to kill me?
Has he approached you since?
No, actually, he's been remarkably absent.
He was a man acting in passion. I wouldn't say that he tried to kill you, otherwise you'd probably be dead.
And we haven't
Or he
seen
would
him
be dead.
either.
Well, Byrne was there to help restrain him.
He's not restraining him right now. I saw Byrne at dinner last night. If Botticello truly meant to kill you, we'd be having a funeral, I assume, or for one or either of you? I don't think he wishes to kill you. I think he was a man who was in the grips of passion.
Regardless, the books are there. You can take them. Do what you want with them.
What we want to do is put them under the control of Mr. Byrne and Miss McCrea, because they've shown the least inclination into researching the darker arts. And should any of us need to
Yes, we will have to
research
pass muster. I understand.
and they will keep
And we're all going
watch
to
on the
die
notes.
for lack of knowledge. I understand completely.
Oh, that's perhaps that's a little dramatic for you, Professor. I didn't know that you'd been taking acting lessons.
Miss McCrea, what is your highest level of education?
I know.
I think I've said
Cross
my,
my fingers. Do I know what
I've made my point.
Yeah.
That's precisely what makes her best suited for this task.
Ignorance?
Ignorance?
Yes.
Probably got some.
Would
How
you
many-
survive as she has in the American West?
No, I'm smart enough not to go there.
Ridiculous. That is a ridiculous statement, Professor. As an anthropologist, you should understand why that is incorrect.
Well, no, but we're referring to me specifically attempting to survive by choice in the location of my choosing. I would not go to the American West. I would probably die en route in a coach robbery.
Should you wish to read the books further,
I don't need to.
I know you've read all of them already, but in the future, should you wish to do any more research with any materials that are kept by the party, you certainly would be able to. We would just make sure that people knew about it, so we all know what we're doing. We're not coordinating properly. We don't know what we can do. No one knew you had that power at your behest. That might have been a useful thing to know.
Because I never used
And you didn't tell anyone.
it.
I haven't
only
told
just
everyone what I
figured
can
it
do
out.
either. And that was wrong of me.
And sir, why such an attack on my character? How does that help you at all?
How does I attack your character?
By attacking my education, do you think you're
That's not
greater than I
attacking-
am?
I'm certainly more learned.
Because you went to a university and you didn't spend time in the West.
Certainly, just as you are a better gunshot than me. I wouldn't try to tell you what sort of gun to go by, but you wish to tell me what sort of topics I should research. It's a perfectly practical analogy.
Well, when you're walking around killing people.
Madam, that line of inquisition will get you nowhere.
I apologize. I do. I think things have gotten out of control, and I'm very sorry, but
But you wish to withhold knowledge so that when we need it, we won't have it.
this
I
was
understand
this was
completely.
a group discussion.
I'm going to
I am not
hand you
the
the books.
only person.
Professor, you
doing
are
this.
such a fantastic actor. It is really tremendous to see. I never knew you had it in you.
Well, without those, I wouldn't be researching this. So,
And what are you researching?
protective items to prevent mental intrusion.
Do you wish any help?
No,
Why not?
because I'm not trusted.
You are so stupid and dull. What a moron you are not to look for help. This is a practical issue, sir. Why would you not look for help in this? What a dummy. What a dum-dum. What a dum-dum.
And she's just kind of looking at these guys like, what the heck is going on?
Do you see how it feels? It doesn't feel too good, does it? now?
Mentally, I'm just like, what the hell? But, oh my god.
Are you researching this protection for the group or just yourself?
Well, the idea would be to reproduce it. The group.
I don't. Oh, okay. Thank you for clarifying.
This is what I'm referring to. We're not
Then
trying
why
to...
don't you need any help? It's
Because the only people here that can help me are Botticello, who I will not be alone in a room with,
I'm sure.
possibly
he
the
won't be alone
captain,
with you.
who has marginally attempted to assassinate me in my sleep, even if he had his own reasons.
What
And
what do you
Weld-
mean?
What do you mean? You just admitted it to him, right? That you dropped the mask on my face?
Oh, is that? Okay.
Oh no, I admitted that I dropped the book cover in the
Into the
ocean.
ocean.
We knew about the mask on the way back.
Oh yeah, they knew it was me with the mask.
Okay, yeah, I will pull it out and be like, he put this on my face in my sleep.
She's backing up.
Yeah, like, I would go over to the truck, pull it out, and just like show it to you. Be like, he dropped this on my face in my sleep. It links you to higher powers that try to drive you crazy.
Professor, that is exactly what I'm talking about. If that mask had been in possession of Byrne and McCrea, the captain could not have taken it and dropped it on whoever he pleased. He'd have had to go and express his purpose and use it. That's what we want, is just safeguards on the knowledge.
You're where he stole it, creeped into my room at night, and dropped it on my face in the sleep.
So you're saying you can't properly protect these items, is what you're telling me. That's my point! This is a practical issue, as you say.
Until that moment, I was unaware I needed to worry about being killed in my sleep by members of this party.
Now we do, and we must take precautions. He killed in your sleep. What he did was terrible, but he did not kill.
And it wasn't that terrible. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're not.
I don't think anyone's going to back you on that. But
I don't think anyone's going to back you on
even if
that.
you didn't have a sanity loss, it's still pretty awful. That's what we need, is more safeguards and more protections. That is all that I am asking for these things for. Because I think it will make us stronger and more easily able to defeat what we're facing. More collaboration, less hiding. If we don't trust each other now, then we need to make each other worthy of each other's trust. That's what I'm talking about. I can share with you what I've learned. I don't necessarily need to know what you've learned, but I'd like to know that you know it. You understand what I'm saying?
You want my skill list, essentially.
And I'd like to know that this information is safe.
No.
And it won't harm anyone.
If you're researching a spell, I'd like to know about it, so I can watch and make sure that you're okay. If I'm working on a spell, I would like you to know about it, so you can watch and make sure I'm okay.
To be clear, you
And
are
I would
aware
like
that
you
that
guys
spell,
not to work on any spells at all. That would be nice.
That's not going to happen, madam.
It's too late for most of us.
You are aware that that spell was not contained in these books.
I am not. I know nothing about it.
Okay.
I would like to.
Well, allow me to inform you. The way in which I learned that spell was to observe the mechanics and applications applied against our party.
That's how I learned how to do the blessed weapon stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
There's nothing in these books about that spell. I can teach the rest of you how to cast the spell.
But you've learned spells from within those books, as I have. Yes. Precisely. I'm saying in the future we will most likely be stumbling upon more such tomes. And we should be wary of what we're learning. And we should be aware of what others are learning. That's
I think
what
it should be like a library. You come, you want to learn a spell, you check the book out, we notify the other folks in the crew, and then everybody knows.
Yes. The mask proves that what we learn has the power to harm us, yes? Do you agree with that?
I would say the items used unwisely have the power to harm us.
And do you feel you're the only person to use them wisely?
No.
I
would be more willing to trust you than most other people in this party. You are my student. I know you at least have a baseline appreciation for knowledge.
Perhaps that appreciation is too great. That is my concern. And so that there should be disinterested, objective parties that can determine whether what we are learning is as objective as they can be. Whether what we learn is worth it or affecting us. We know that these books have real power in the world. They're not just words on the page.
True.
So Miss McCrea and Mr. Byrne have a skepticism to them that the rest of us do not have. That is what makes them suited towards the safeguarding of them.
Mr. McCrea, I would hope you would not allow Mr. Byrne to read these books.
I will only have 2 of them, and he will have 2 of them.
I'm going to hold up 5 books. This is my point, Well.
Where did this come from? I will have 3 then, and he will have 2. And no one will.
I will.
I think we should.
Hand you physically and make you take the book.
I think we should agree now on what the word is that escapes my friggin' brain.
Security protocol.
Yes, she wouldn't have said that.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying.
What the criteria is to be able to have these books, to read them, and then who should know about it?
You and Byrne. One or the other of you should have possession of them and have the ability to the keys to the lock, so to speak.
Yes.
The locks can be bypassed, but at least it's better than nothing. When one of us wants to research them or other books that we should come upon in the future, what about the artifacts like the mask and the...
I believe those
other
should be put away as well.
Wilkerson.
Or not.
Hold on to
No. Oh wait, you want a long time? If you would like to prevent us from being able to research things at a quick pace, then take it. I'm not going to fight you on this.
What are you researching now? Obviously the protective, something of protective nature.
The protective application of magic.
In general, on all of these things?
No, specifically from what I've learned, how to prevent things from reaching into your mind.
And what does that require from what you have?
In this footlocker, absolutely nothing. Out of character. Totally true, because it's sewn into my head.
Yeah, well, then I fail to see what the problem is. If you want to research more protective stuff, by all means. I certainly, even if you do not feel that I would be up to snuff, I think I could assist you with this, but...
It's not about being up to snuff, but it's you're preoccupied.
With?
Managing Mr. Wilkerson, for one. Trying to be the go-between for the party. Learning other languages. Practicing martial combat. I mean, how many things can you have on your plate at once?
A good question. I see your point.
My only other course of action would be to ask Mr. Botticello, and no.
I understand that. I'll only say that, as I would tell Botticello as well, the two of you have dissimilar outlooks, but the two of you have similar goals, and I wish that you both could.
So do I, but I'm afraid that he would simply scream demon and club me to death.
I think he's more nuanced than you give him credit for.
It's quite possible. I wouldn't know past the violence.
You've shot men in the face now, too. We all have dirty hands at this point.
Technically, I could have been half of the waist with a shotgun.
Tomato.
Tomato.
And did so in defense of Captain Wilkerson's life.
I've killed men in combat. It is a thing that has to be done. I'm saying
You were
so
just tied to
Botticello.
a post. Be quiet.
What you often fixate on with Botticello, he was killing a man he thought who did kill a man.
I believe the chain of events was something like, the door is locked. Let's blow it off the hinges. Look, a man. I shall jump down and slay him.
He's a dead man.
And then afterwards we were, oh yes, I believe he did violence upon another. Good thing that we know that now.
But you understand what led him to believe that. And he was right, after all.
I understand his reasoning. His religious motivations for violence. I simply don't trust them.
Fair enough. It is a practical issue, you understand, but if you don't want to be practical about it, we have what we have.
I will agree to be largely indifferent to Mr. Botticello for the sake of the party.
But you'll have to collaborate. That is...
Not on these things, no.
Will you please let me collaborate on this, then? At least a little.
If you would like to clear some time in your very daunting
I will. This is a priority for me. As would I, if I were working on something of this nature, I would want you on it as well. That said, perhaps we should learn some Okay, so in practical terms, we take the books in your chest of stuff. You say you're fine with that.
Well, I don't want you to take my chest, but you can take
the stuff out.
Yeah, like my chest is actually mine that I've put
Absolutely. So we procure a small footlocker, maybe buy off of one of the merchant marine guys or something.
Let's see. I would be giving you 5 books, an engraved stick.
You would keep the sticks to you when you have those.
No, I have 3.
Oh, okay, so you got it.
I'm giving you 1.
And engraved stick.
Because you guys don't know about the other ones.
So the scepter? The scepter from New York.
Yeah.
So it's not one of the power battery things.
No, it is.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. It has a different, it has a similar effect.
The priest robes. A shimmering shawl, copper bowl.
Tiara of power.
Yeah. No, that's sewn in my hat.
So he's handing these to McCrea and Weld.
Yes. Do I need to roll occult on any of these things?
I would like you to roll idea. Both of you.
Yep.
How much did you pass by?
20.
Oh yeah.
There might be something missing. There's a lot of stuff here, but you were all there for going through the priest stuff in New York.
Mm-hmm.
There's something potentially missing here.
Okay. I'm not going to press it or bring it up if McCrea doesn't. Put a padlock on it, give one key to Byrne, give one key to McCrea, and just say, the two of you can figure out where this will be. And then again.
By the way, you also notice a machete-sized weapon with Egyptian hieroglyphics on it.
What is that?
What is that?
That's the thing I ordered from the silversmith.
Oh, that's right.
You wouldn't want to keep that or anything?
No, it's mine. Yeah, like, you've never seen this before.
Well,
It just looks like a
when I
large
see it, I'll
bush knife,
hold up and
basically.
be like, what's this?
Like, that's mine, and I was taking it from you.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I had this made in London.
Keep that. It could be important. No, I wouldn't say that because that would be ridiculous. Yeah, so I give that to you guys and I say, Miss McCrea, should you choose to, whatever you do with it, just please talk to the group first. Don't just kick it overboard.
As we've agreed tonight, anything that happens beyond this point, the group should know about.
Agreed.
And that will do us tonight. We'll talk to you guys next week.